If you created a solution in Make.com that works in one environment and you want to deploy it to additional client environments, you're going to run into some pretty significant challenges. First thing you have to do is an export of the blueprint. And then on the client side, you need to import that blueprint. And although it looks okay, it still won't work for a couple of reasons. The first thing is you need to give it the new account. But even then, it still doesn't work because all of your database IDs are different. So for each module, you'll need to find the right database. And then in some cases, like this, it looks like it works. But in others, even after putting in the right ID, still doesn't work. You have to close that out, reopen it now that it has the correct ID. And unfortunately, it has lost the database ID here, which is pointing to one of the other modules. And if your project happens to have a large number of scenarios, then you need to do this for each and every one of them, updating the connection IDs on every module, as well as the IDs to any of the databases that you may be pointing to. It's a royal pain. To get around that problem, I have a spreadsheet where I have all of my IDs. The IDs are here, and I've labeled them over on the left. So the ID for my Notion connection, for my Google connection, any URLs, and the IDs of all of the databases in my project. I select the client that I need to port to, and it has all of the IDs of those same databases in my client environment. Over here, I have the URL to where all of these files are stored in my Google Drive, and then I just ask it to start the conversion process. It starts going through systematically one export file at a time, identifying all of the variables that are in that file, and replacing the values from my development environment into the values that they need to be for my client environment where I'm distributing my scripts. And when it's done, it's taken all of the scripts that I exported and made a subfolder for the client that has versions that I can import and will work seamlessly in the client environment. So the next question is, how do I get the IDs of all of the databases? Although there's a function for getting the ID of a row, the only way to extract from a database is to get the link and extract it manually. Or I have a table for that purpose, and I use the @mentions. Continue this for all the other databases. So now I have exactly one script that I need to update, because this scenario will look at this particular table, look at the @mentions, and from the mentions it will extract the IDs of all of the databases. I can then copy all of these rows. I go to the New Client tab, and I select an open slot. I'll say Future 2, and then I paste all of the values from Notion here. The matching row column lets me know which row of the master configuration sheet that all of these new values need to go. That saves me the trouble of figuring out where all of these IDs need to go, especially if the tables are listed in different orders. So I save all of those IDs, and now I can select the new client, Future 2, and it has loaded up all of the IDs and it's ready for me to fire.